Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Gavin, and some of the most powerful lessons I've learned about life came from a messy, complicated world of dating, specifically from someone who allowed others to control decisions about our relationship. That experience taught me a lot about trust, manipulation, and the importance of choosing a partner who can think for herself, even when her friends are whispering toxic advice in her ear. I first noticed Alicia during our sophomore year at State University, sitting 3 rows ahead of me in intermediate psychology. She was always perfectly put together, and I found myself looking forward to her insights during class discussions. For nearly 2 years, I tried every reasonable way I could think of to get Alicia's attention. I'd arrive early to sit near her, hoping to start a conversation before class. I'd find excuses to run into her around campus, but every attempt was met with polite, distant responses that made it clear she wasn't interested in anything more than casual classroom interaction. Alicia had mastered the ability to be friendly without being available, warm but never inviting. She would smile when she saw me, but she kept firm boundaries that stopped things from ever becoming personal. Eventually, I accepted that she simply wasn't interested, no matter what I thought was chemistry between us. What I didn't know at the time was that her apparent disinterest wasn't entirely her own. It was a strategy crafted by her close-knit group of friends, who had essentially taken charge of her dating life. These 3 friends had been roommates since freshman year and had developed an intense, almost codependent bond. They made decisions collectively, forming a kind of council that influenced nearly every aspect of Alicia's choices, including who she dated. I later learned they had analyzed my every attempt to get closer to her and unanimously decided that I wasn't exciting or socially impressive enough for her. They warned Alicia that dating me would be settling, that I would make her college experience dull. Their advice was simple: keep me at arm's length until someone more dynamic came along. It wasn't until senior year that Alicia seemed to rethink that stance. I would later discover that her change of heart had more to do with her friends' updated social calculations than any real shift in how she felt about me. Suddenly, I wasn't just a boring psychology major anymore. I was someone who might actually be worth her time. Where she once politely declined my invitations, she now accepted when I suggested we study together. That first study session led to coffee, then dinner, then our first real date, all within 2 weeks. After nearly 2 years of patient persistence, Alicia finally decided to give me a chance. Once things started, our relationship moved quickly, as many late college romances do. We spent most of our free time together, shuttling between my apartment and hers, aligning our social circles and academic schedules. Alicia was smart, driven, and affectionate when we were alone, and I felt like I was finally getting to know the person I'd admired for so long. But her friends remained ever-present in our relationship, their influence showing up in both subtle and obvious ways. Alicia constantly checked her phone, asking their advice about everything: what she should wear on our dates, how to interpret things I said, even how to respond to small disagreements. It became clear she couldn't make even minor decisions without their input. I began noticing that her attitude toward me could shift overnight depending on what her friends had said. After hanging out with them, she'd sometimes become distant or critical, raising concerns that felt planted rather than genuine. 6 months into our relationship, I accidentally overheard part of a phone call between Alicia and one of her friends that confirmed just how involved they were. She was describing an argument we'd had, and her friend was giving step-by-step instructions on how she should respond. It hit me that every private detail of our relationship was being dissected by her friends, who felt entitled to offer their opinions on issues they only knew about secondhand. I tried to brush it off as normal. College students talk to their friends about relationships, but it gnawed at me. Eventually, I brought up my concerns directly with Alicia. She immediately got defensive, insisting she made her own decisions and that her friends were just supportive confidants. She accused me of being jealous and trying to isolate her from people who cared about her. The conversation ended in frustration, with no clear resolution about where a friend's influence should stop and where our relationship should take priority. Despite this, our relationship continued. We even started discussing post-graduation plans, possibly moving to the same city and staying together after college. I believed that, as we became adults, her friends' involvement would naturally fade. I couldn't have been more wrong. 9 months into dating, I learned just how deeply her friends were orchestrating things behind the scenes. One Saturday afternoon, I was at Alicia's apartment while she went to the kitchen to make snacks. Her phone buzzed beside me, and the preview message on her lock screen caught my attention. Normally, I would never look at her private messages, but this one read, "Remember, tonight's the breakup test." Then another popped up, "Don't laugh when you do it." My stomach dropped. I unlocked her phone, I knew her password, and scrolled up through the group chat. What I found felt like a punch to the chest. There was an entire conversation outlining a plan Alicia and her friends had put together to test my commitment. That night, Alicia was supposed to fake a breakup, claiming our relationship wasn't working and she wanted to end things. The idea was to see how I reacted, whether I would beg her to stay or walk away calmly. If I begged, it meant I was truly devoted. If I accepted the breakup quietly, it meant I didn't care enough. They weren't just testing me. They were playing with my emotions like it was a game. And Alicia wasn't just reluctantly going along. She was enthusiastic, thanking her friends for helping her come up with such a clever plan. I took screenshots of the entire chat, my mind racing with anger, hurt, and disbelief. When Alicia returned from the kitchen, I was sitting exactly where she left me, but everything had changed in my mind. She seemed nervous, glancing at her phone, clearly psyching herself up for what she was about to do. In that moment, I made a choice. I would go along with her plan, not because I didn't know what was happening, but because I wanted to see just how far she would take it. Around 8 o'clock, Alicia asked me to sit on the couch, her tone overly serious, as if she were delivering bad news. She sat across from me, fidgeted with her hands, glanced at her phone one last time, and delivered her rehearsed lines about how our relationship wasn't working and how we should break up before things got worse. It was almost insulting how fake it sounded. When she paused, waiting for my reaction, I gave her exactly what she wanted, begging her to stay, letting my voice crack, even forcing tears to make it look real. Her phone kept buzzing as her friends cheered her on from the group chat. Alicia looked almost pleased, like she was proud of the reaction she had gotten. After a few minutes of the charade, I stopped mid-sentence, straightened my posture, and dropped the act. Calmly, I asked her how she thought her performance had gone and whether it had matched the script her friends had given her. Her face drained of color as she realized what I meant. She stammered, trying to deny it, until I showed her the screenshots on my phone. Alicia's excuses were weak. She said it was supposed to be a harmless joke, that she was planning to tell me the truth afterward. I told her flatly that jokes aren't funny when only one person is laughing, and deliberately hurting someone just to get a reaction isn't humor, it's cruelty. Standing up, I told her that she hadn't tested my loyalty that night. She had tested my tolerance for manipulation and disrespect. Relationships, I said, should be built on honesty and trust, not mind games designed to trick your partner into proving themselves. I told her I needed time to think about whether I want to stay in a relationship with someone who could do something like this. Then I walked out, leaving her sitting stunned on the couch. For the next several days, I ignored her calls and texts. At first, she tried to play it off as a misunderstanding or joke that got out of hand. But when I didn't respond, her tone changed. She began admitting how wrong she had been, even blaming her friends for pushing her into it. A week later, I finally replied, just to tell her that I appreciated the apology, but our relationship was over. Trust broken so deliberately couldn't be rebuilt, and I wasn't interested in being her test case for personal growth. She kept calling and texting, even enlisting her friends to contact me on her behalf. Ironic, considering they were the ones who encouraged her to do it in the first place. But by then, I had seen everything I needed to see. Alicia had shown me that she valued her friends' opinions over my feelings, that she was willing to manipulate me for entertainment, and that she lacked maturity to make decisions independently. The fake breakup wasn't just a bad idea. It was a symptom of a deeper problem. Alicia wasn't ready for a healthy, adult relationship. Looking back now, I know I made the right choice. Relationships built on manipulation rarely recover, and Alicia's actions reveal fundamental issues that would have caused future problems anyway. The experience taught me the value of trusting my instincts, setting boundaries, and refusing to stay in situations where respect is missing. I hope Alicia eventually learned to think for herself and stop letting others dictate her choices. As for me, that experience made me far more selective about who I let into my life, and much quicker to walk away when I see red flags. Some of life's most important lessons come from painful situations. This was one of them.